Welcome back, everyone, to Midday SuperTalk Mississippi. That seems to be the anthem every time we have the captain in the studio. I can't drive 55. Back when the speed limit was 55. Joining us now in the Element Well studios, Captain Criss Turnipseed. Captain Turnipseed is the director of the Mississippi Highway Patrol Public Affairs Division. It is Thanksgiving, Captain. And everything that I see says folks are going to be traveling a lot.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Gerard. I'm keeping my eye on Rhino back here.
Good idea.
Yeah, we've got traveling. Well, we've got folks traveling a lot right now. I think I've seen an uptick in traveling, starting even on Monday. We started our travel period this morning at 6 o'clock as far as statistics goes, and we'll keep up with the enforcement statistics between this morning at 6, and we'll conclude that on Sunday at midnight. But we're aiming for a happy and a safe and hopefully a fatality-free Thanksgiving period. Last year we had 5 fatal crashes, so those are never good, especially around the holidays. But we would sure like to get that down to around the number 0.
So does most of the travel, Captain, occur today or tomorrow, and then on Sunday? How does that shake out?
Traditionally, usually your peak times are usually the day before the holiday, and then at the end of that weekend, of that holiday weekend, people usually, when they come into town for Thanksgiving, they'll usually stay Thursday, Friday, and then, if they're visiting, they're probably not going to go home to about Sunday. So we try to get the holiday period around just, when we think the max peak times are the day before, and then, at the end of that weekend. I will say this, though, school colleges have the extended break, though, so we have seen some uptick in traffic flowing up and down the highways. I know we've got a Egg Bowl this weekend, so I'm sure traffic will pick back up on Thursday for that. And we're just going to be out there, and we're going to be doing our jobs, and we're just going to be doing the best we can to make sure everybody's safe.
Yeah. So I wonder, though, if certainly in the urban areas, Captain, where they're on the interstates and the highways, you do have the K-12 schools off. And I can just tell from just traveling in the area that the roads are a bit less congested, certainly at those peak times in the morning and the afternoon. So maybe that helps out a bit. What's the message, as always, sir, to the traveling public?
Man, we have that same message pretty much every holiday, and the message is never going to change. It's always going to be the same one. It's just slow down, put that seatbelt on, don't drink and drive. Of course, you're going to have celebrate with some kind of beverage over the holiday, get a designated driver. Of course, we don't want any distracted driving out there, too. Put down those phones and, pay attention to the roadway and what's going on the road. You don't take but a second to look down, and then you look up and there's somebody there, somebody stopped or somebody pulled out, and, it's too late then, because if you just had your eyes on the roadway, you might have had time to react. So yeah. That is a big problem. But those are the messages. Those are the best things that we want people to do is pretty much the same message we always have.
And I know, as you indicated, the Egg Bowl tomorrow in Oxford, and, of course, lots of folks will be traveling in the state for that, which is a 6 o'clock kickoff. Is scheduled to rain, it looks like, in the forecast. Just how bigger of a problem does it become on our roads when they're wet like that?
Well, we got some jokes around usually, about rain, but it usually doesn't take much moisture on the road. If people don't adjust their driving habits, then, they're off the road, they're hydroplanes, especially in that first, couple hours of weather. Usually when it's been raining a couple of days or something, people have time to adjust to it, and things kind of even out, smooth out a little bit. But usually your initial rainfall is usually when we see most of our crashes. And if it's raining and the speed limit says 55, that don't mean you can go. You should be going 55, or it says 65 or 70. Speed limit's there there for ideal conditions, and definitely if it's raining, it's not going to be ideal. And you've got some low places and highways where water collects, and it don't take but just a quarter of an inch of water to make that tire lose traction, and your car can skid off the roadway. So especially slow down for that. You're talking about traffic conditions. You got Black Friday coming up too, so that's going to be a busy day. People are going to be out trying to get those deals. I expect Saturday will be another busy shopping day. People trying to get things ready for Christmas. We can't. We've moved the Christmas holiday up now all the way to the day after Halloween now. So the sales have started, and I've started getting the papers and started seeing the internet ads, and people will be out shopping. We're coming out of all this COVID stuff, and people are getting out and mingling and mixing and doing things pretty much like we used to. Mm-hmm. So I expect a pretty busy travel period, a pretty busy holiday this week.
Something else that I'll just share, I don't know if it's necessarily the Highway Patrol's purview, but especially when the roads are wet, make sure you got good tread on your tires. I took mine in yesterday because I felt like I needed a wheel alignment, and I didn't, I don't inspect my tires as closely as I should, but at the tire store there, they showed me where there was wear on the wall where you could see the wires. And in fact, what the rep said is, I wouldn't drive this vehicle anymore if I were you.
Definitely. The tread on the tire makes all the difference in the world in inclement weather. Also, another thing is tire pressure. A lot of people don't understand how tire pressure comes into play when driving, especially on wet roads. That your tires have a maximum allotted air pressure, and I'll be honest with you, they usually don't ride the best when you've got them at max air pressure.
Right.
But they do get the best traction on the roadways when you got that tire completely expanded to its maximum potential. You just got more surface area on the road, so it gives you more traction in rain. We run our patrol car tires always at max pressure. You get, like I said, the ride's not the greatest, and a lot of people like that real cushy ride. It doesn't make it that much harder, but you can tell a little bit of difference on the cracks and the stuff in the road. You can kind of pick up those inputs in your steering wheel when it hits it, but it does give you a lot better traction on the roadway. So I would recommend if somebody's serious about driving in the rain and wants the safest they can possibly have their car, is go ahead and get your do it yourself, or get your service guy to make sure you got max air pressure you can run those tires. Yeah,
it's good advice, but it's especially an issue. You can tell, when it's wet and you apply the brakes, you don't quite get the traction when those tires are worn as you do with better conditioned tires. I got to share this with you and get your take on it. So not far from where we are right here, I was traveling on 55 North, approaching the county line exit, and I noticed that it's 3 lanes right there, and it was reasonably congested, and I noticed the vehicle in front of me very abruptly swerved. We were in the leftmost lane and swerved and almost struck the concrete barrier, and I wondered why that happened, and in an instant, I figured it out. There was a person walking across the interstate there with a lot of traffic and was literally standing atop the lane, the broken white lane there on the stripe, as if waiting for the traffic to clear to continue passing. And I then had to swerve and almost hit the concrete barrier, but also just barely missed the individual. I got to tell you, my heart pounded after that. Are people doing this around the state?
Well, it's funny that you asked me that. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't necessarily know around here in Jackson, because we don't usually patrol in the city limits of Jackson.
Yeah.
But there has been an uptick to me. I've noticed. I always get a copy of all of our fatal accident reports, and we've got an information group among the PAOs across the state, and anytime we have an incident happen, a fatal crash or just a major incident come, we always keep each other informed of what's going on around the state. I have seen an uptick of pedestrian crashes across Mississippi. It's odd. I don't know if that's something that's just started happening more here recently. I really started pushing in the last year or so, making sure we're a lot more vocal in our department about communicating so we can all be informed on what's going on, because we use a lot of this information we share in a lot of our safety presentations we do in schools and stuff. So I want all the guys from the top, from me down to the bottom, to know this is what's happening, around the state. So we started sharing that, being a lot more, intentional about sharing that information. And I have noticed a lot of more pedestrian crashes. I've also here recently a lot of more like school bus crashes involving school buses too, and those are just problems that are 100% completely avoidable. If people were just paying attention to what's going on.
Wow. Well, It scared me, and it scared me for the individual that was attempting to cross. That's obviously extremely dangerous, and we don't recommend anybody doing that.
No, don't play Frogger on the interstate.
Gosh, that was crazy. Before we go, just a few seconds. Everybody, all hands on deck for the weekend. Set the normal drill.
We'll have everybody we can get out there, and we'll have some extras because of our overtime details and stuff. So we'll be out there properly represented, I can assure you.
As always, we are so grateful for the service of the men and women that serve in the Highway Patrol to keep our roadways and the motoring public safe, sir. Thank you so much to them.
Sir.
Thank you for coming on.
Yes, sir, Gerard. Thank you for letting us get on here and share our message.
You
everybody be safe. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving indeed. We'll step aside for a break right here on Middays. Coming right back.